We are really happy because as things have worked out, it's perfect timing. We have an old friend of mine that folks in East Texas may be very familiar with, who used to be the head football coach of the Lufkin Panthers, and he is with us right now on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com. He also was a captain on the 1963 national championship team for the Texas Longhorns, and he was the linebacker for them and played for Coach Darrell Royal. Pat Culpepper's on the line. Coach Culpepper, how are you doing?
Great to hear you, Bryan, and man, I follow those Lufkin Panthers in the paper as much as I can, and I'm so proud of Carrington Bynum, who's one of our Longhorn cornerbacks that played a great game against Texas Tech.
He absolutely did. How are you doing now? You're living in Cleburne now. That's your hometown, right?
Back hometown, yes, sir. Back hometown.
And when did you move back to Cleburne, and what have you been doing with yourself?
Well, I came back. I coached at Galveston Ball and Westfield, and finally came back home. My mother was not in good shape, and I came back home, so I've retired here in Cleburne, and I play a lot of golf, go to the football games at Texas, and follow our high school team here, and so that's what I do now, and I enjoy what's happening. But today's been a pretty sad day.
Well, I know it is, and that's why we wanted to talk to you. I hate to talk to you on an occasion like this, but of course the news came down early this morning that Coach Royal had passed away, and I wanted to ask you, because you were an integral part of a very, very great football team at Texas under Coach Royal. What was it like playing for Coach Royal?
Well, I think the thing that Darrell Royal was able to do was raise the standards here in Texas as far as football. We got from just winning the Southwest Conference to trying to win a national championship. And he did it because of his, and I will say this, he had a great defensive coordinator, Mike Campbell, who I got to play for. He was with Coach for 20 years. But Coach Royal had a wonderful appreciation of offensive football at that time. And before the wishbone, we were in the wing tee and did great things there with it. But, you know, our program was clean. There was nothing given to players. You dressed right. You acted right. The three things he always wrote on the board for the freshman recruits: attitude, effort, and academics. Those were the three things that you were going to make at Texas. You had to do those at Texas to make it. And I was on his coaching staff 2 years and got to recruit with him in those days with no cell phones, so we rode long ways just talking about football and other things. And this guy was, of course, from the Dust Bowl of Oklahoma. He came up the hard way. He was a talented athlete at Oklahoma. He had 17 interceptions in his career at Oklahoma and was a deadly punter as well as a great quarterback. So he was a unique individual. And the other part of Coach Royal that I got to know, he never turned down an autograph. Anybody wanted his autograph, and he gave money to people that could never help him. He went out of his way to help people.
Coach Pat Culpepper with us on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM. Coach Culpepper, I talked to James Street last hour, and one of the things that he told me was that if you were a former player of his and you asked him to do something, that you needed something from him, he would help you, whether you were a star or whether you were a walk-on, you know, just somebody that just was like a blocking dummy for 4 years. He was willing to go out of his way if he could do it to help you out long after you left the program.
Oh, yeah, and if you were wearing one of those T-rings, which he initiated at Texas, which means you not only lettered in football, but you graduated from the University of Texas, you were really special to him. And he helped me get a head coaching job in Midland, and also called Jack Darnell in Lufkin when I got that job. And I appreciated that so much from him because he was busy then. That was a busy time for him. He went out of his way to call the superintendents and talk to them about me. And he would do that even without you calling him. And he did that for me at Midland. And so he was a special type person. And, of course, his group is all gone now. Woody Hayes, Bo Schembechler, John McKay, Bear Bryant, and you have to put Joe Paterno in that. They're all gone now. That's it. Those great coaches that made college football really what it is are gone from us now. And,
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, Coach.
What, Bryan, one thing about him is I've been with him the last 6 months, and Coach Royal didn't like the shape he was in. He hated it. He hated what was coming on him. He knew it was coming. It was almost uncanny when you were around him. He would ask questions and then being unable to answer you when you talk back to him. He hated that. Oh. He hated not playing golf. He hated not being able to be active. And I think now he's in a better place, bless his heart.
No question about it. It's a blessing that ordeal is over for him. It was really odd, too, because it was just this past week that we'd read stories in the paper that his wife was starting to auction off some things and downsize. And I don't know if you know John Ray that lives here in Longview and runs a car dealership here in the town, but he was a walk-on that walked on at Texas and played for Coach Royal and loves him. And we were talking about Coach Royal just last week and what kind of guy he was. And so it's really ironic that this happened just a matter of a few days later that he's passed away. But, Coach, let me ask you, because I don't know, and you mentioned all of his peers and those legendary coaches, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone say a bad word about Darrell Royal. No.
Well, his name's on the stadium. Darrell K. Royal.
But I'm talking about him. But I'm talking about people that are not even associated with Texas. You would figure Texas people would revere him, but
I know.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, the guy was, he was a kind of person that could, in 1963, we were waiting for John Kennedy and his wife to come by the airport. Coach Royal told us he had to go give him a football. We were the number one team, and he was shot that day. We were getting ready for A&M. He could be with John Kennedy, but the next week he might be with Willie Nelson. He had that capacity to go through all kind of groups. He was that kind of person, and he never thought he was anything special besides a coach. And, we've lost in his memory that we lost so much. I have all kinds of notes that he wrote with me when we'd play golf, we'd talk football, and thank the Lord I kept those and put them in a picture frame. His immaculate drawing on things, his immaculate, it was, just immaculate, the designs and things he would put on things and things he would write down. Thank goodness I kept that. My two sons, Will and Johnny, called me this morning. Both of them were crying because Coach was so nice to them when they were just little kids. And so
it's a great loss, and I know I offer my sympathies to you because obviously you had a special relationship with him.
Yeah, I was in his third recruiting class. He came into my house and said, we're looking for Texas boys that want to beat Oklahoma and win the Southwest Conference. And looked at my mom and dad and said, we think Pat can be one of those, No sugarcoating, just, that was the deal. And, that was a wonderful memories. And Coach was a coach that will never be replaced at Texas. And I'm telling you this, I don't know, I have no insight to the Texas football program. But if those Texas players got any guts about them, they'll win 3 more football games this year for Coach Roy. Because I was with him the last time we took him to a practice. And we were driving from his assisted living quarters to the stadium, and he did not know where we were going. And he kept saying, where am I going? I don't know where I live. It was so sad, Bryan. But when we got to that practice field, he knew he was on the Texas practice field.
I bet he lit up then, didn't he?
Oh, he did. He was shaking hands and talking to the players. It was like something clicked on through that terrible disease he had, and he knew he was home. And that awesome. Was so sweet. I turned away from it and walked off because I knew that was all that was all he had. You know, he didn't even know where he was. So, bless his heart, he fought a good fight. He hitchhiked from Compton, California at 14 years old with a violin case full of his clothes all the way back to Hollis, Oklahoma. And, you know, that's the kind of life that he lived and came through the Dust Bowl in the Depression years and made a difference in a lot of young people's lives and also the whole state of Texas.
Absolutely. Coach Culpepper, it is so great to catch up with you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being able to come on with us today. It added a real special time to remembering Darrell Royal today, and we thank you so much for coming on with us.
Well, Bryan, we had such great fun with those Lufkin Panthers. That was the
yes, we did.
Years I ever had in coaching. I love those boys. I love that town. Man, we had those pep rallies. We went to Kyle Field. We kicked some butt. I was so proud of all those boys that played for me, and many of them have gotten in touch with me and, you know, written me letters, and I've kept up with them through the years. Those big old Matt McCall that went
yes,
down
sir.
to A&M. Guys like that were just the greatest kids. We worked so hard. That district was so good then, with particularly Longview and John Tyler and Marshall, and I was so proud. We loved it there in Lufkin, and all my friends there, I'll never forget them, and we had some great years there, and there'll be a better day tomorrow.
Yeah, there absolutely will, and they were some of my greatest memories too, Coach. It's so great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on with us again, and my best to Martha, okay?
You bet. Thank you, Bryan.
All right, Coach, good talking to you. Pat Culpepper, the former Lufkin coach, also a captain on that 1963 national championship team at Texas for Coach Darrell Royal on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM.